Hello there, my name is Paul Norlander. I'm a film student who just graduated Haggerty High School, and I want to talk about my experiences as a high school filmmaker and the projects that I did, the people behind them, and the process of making those things. And I want to explain why I'm making this project and showing these projects at all, because what you're about to watch is all of the movies that I think are most significant that I made in my time in high school, and interviews about the process of making them. And the reasoning that I'm doing this is actually particularly for me, in my own interest. I have an absolutely terrible memory. I write everything down every chance I can get on physical paper, take photos, whatever I can do to remember things, because I know I'm gonna forget them. And these 4 years of my life have been extremely significant. These people, these stories, these processes have developed me piece by piece and brick by brick to be able to make the great things that I was able to make near the end of my high school career. And I don't want to forget any of those. I don't want to forget the details. I don't want to forget the stories. And I want to immortalize them in this video here, which will be uploaded to the internet, so you know it will never go away. So before we get into this, let's start by telling you a little bit more about me so you can know who I am with a video that will later be very significant, but for right now, I'm not going to tell you why. Hello, my name is Paul Norlander, and this is Your Selfie. For the first 7 years of my life, I grew up in this house in the wondrous world of New Jersey, frequently getting myself in trouble for using my creativity a little too much, like dipping my hair in bubble soap to see if I could make bubbles with it. I'd moved to Chulliota, Florida for an unexpectedly short time. I made some friends, did some things, you know, normal kid stuff. Then the not normal kid stuff happened. Cancer. Well, not exactly cancer. In 2019, I was diagnosed with severe aplastic anemia, a disease more severe than most cancers, but a step down from leukemia. I moved back to New Jersey for a year into an 820 square foot apartment and was medically prohibited from going outside for a year. Going through treatment, my therapy was stories. I'd stay up till 4 watching movies and late night talk shows and writing my own episodes whenever I got the chance. The stories were a transport from the world I was in and a transport back home. I watched vlogs about Universal Studios, and after getting home a year later, started my own pandemic-bound Universal Studios YouTube channel. I'd upload weekly for 2 years straight, uploading 96 videos. No one watched it, but it taught me how to edit and built a work ethic because each of these videos took 11 damn hours. Going into middle school, I'd finally get past my iPad editing phase. I'd dive headfirst into 9 full-year film classes in 5 years and start a pet sitting business to fund my projects. I'd build who I am as a person. So here's the answer to the question it took me 4 years to answer. Who am I? I'm a 5'10" male who claims to be almost 6 foot around girls. I'm a hopeless romantic who loves movie dates. I'm a horror fan whose mind is way too good at turning movies to be about demonic, gory entities. I believe my best feature is my work ethic. I follow the creative lessons of Van and Casey Neistat. I spend most of my free time making movies, and my creative mind still entices me to do stupid things to make them. I love dogs and pet sit for over 20 people, say hola and adios despite speaking terrible Spanish, and love to do things I don't think I can. But no matter what, that creative, crazy part of me will always be there. Okay, so how'd you like it? I know that video was very fast. Yet again, I will explain as to why that's like that later. But first, let's begin. And the only way to begin is at the beginning, and that beginning is in this file. This file holds all of the production and pre-production documents that I made throughout high school for any of the films that I did. And the first document that I'm going to pull out of this folder is actually planted there, because this folder did not exist when I made this movie, as it was my first drama short film I had ever made, Survival of the Fittest. So Survival of the Fittest does not have a ton of pre-production or anything along those lines, as I was a very early filmmaker, was not making proper documents, and had no idea what I was doing. The only thing that was particularly significant about the way that I shot this was that I actually brought a GoPro that I owned personally to school in order to film multiple POV shots, which you will see in the film. I don't have a lot more to say about that one, so without further ado, let's roll into what should hopefully be one of the worst films that I will show you.
What's that?
So that was Survival of the Fittest. Yet again, one of the first projects that I ever made as a freshman. I also made it almost entirely on my own. Now, the only thing in this production that was particularly significant or funny, in my opinion, is that in a lot of these scenes where I was running by myself out in public, just sprinting as fast as I could. And multiple people that my mom knew, because these were recorded in my neighborhood, actually called her thinking that I was getting kidnapped because they just saw me sprinting as fast as I physically could and didn't see my little school camcorder camera that was on a tripod in the corner. And so they just saw me like sprinting as fast and as far as I could and thought I was getting kidnapped. And she told them that I was okay. And then additionally, in the sequence where I'm sitting in this parking lot here, there were multiple cars that were driving through this parking lot at the time that were staring at me in this hockey mask, drinking a McDonald's drink with the straw through the mask. And I almost caused a fender bender because somebody wasn't paying attention and almost just hit somebody from the side because they were just watching me film this. So the death and destruction started very early on and only got more intense as time continued. The other most significant part of my freshman year was that I met Antonio Pizza. Yes, that is his actual last name. And if he gets where he wants to be in life, you will all know that name, as it will be on the presidential ballot.
So I met Paul. His nickname was Freckles or Four Eyes. I don't think I ever told him that, but it was in my brain. Because I'm awful with names, so I come up with nicknames until I actually learn their name. I think I also called him Rookie a little bit. But then we got a new Rookie, so I called that one Rookie. But basically, I had this vision.
Antonio would talk to me about a movie idea that he had. But what he had as a movie idea was not a short film idea or any simple idea. He wanted to make a full multi-hour long feature-length Christmas movie.
To combine all the great Christmas movies into one. And basically this plot would be these four friends were all going, they started college and they were all going in their different directions. And there was one whose parents died in a house fire, who was lonely and was going to commit suicide. So when Santa Claus shows up, hits him over the head with a big candy cane and knocks him out and throws him into his Scion car.
I remember explicitly getting a text message that was like, do you know a bridge that someone would commit suicide off of?
And basically, you know, blah, 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 blah. Happy ending. That was the last version. There was a couple other versions. We don't talk about that. But Paul was my original, what was the name of the character? I want to say I called him Paul.
We would work individually on this movie and shoot a few shots of it, and Antonio actually managed to get a deal to show this final movie in a local movie theater for free in a month. Now, I don't know if you know how hard it is to make a movie, but it is really fucking hard to make a movie. And so most of these short projects that we did that were only like 5 minutes long would take us the better part of 3 or 4 weeks to be making. And Antonio wanted to shoot and edit a movie that he had mostly written without shot lists or storyboards, which are very vital production documents that you need in order to properly tell a story in a month.
I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna get it done because I always get it done. The pizza always delivers. The script was done. We just had a month to film it. And my people, my crew, unionized against me.
His crew, including me, unionized against him and dropped the project at the same time because it was stressing people out so bad.
They had a meeting while I was doing something else, and I basically got told that they all quit. They quit on the movie for the kids. Think about it. Think about it. For the kids. They didn't care. They didn't care. But yeah, that was Christmas Journey. You know, that wasn't the first version, but that was the last version. But that was the story of the first version.
And so the next project that I would work on was the first project of my sophomore year, which was called Hey, Can I Get a Light? Now, Easton was a primary collaborator on this movie, and so he has a very unique perspective on it also. However, the process of making this was very interesting.
This was one of my earlier serious films as well. We end up at this sketchy behind some weird mill. And there was also a train car parked right next to it, which is, off topic, but we had fun with that.
Guys, if we stomp on the roof hard enough, it'll cave in. Oh.
So the assignment that we were given was to have a title that was 6 words. Why this was our assignment, I have no idea. But it made us come up with the idea, hey, can I get a light? And so we put this together. I wrote this story that was about this guy who's stuck in a limbo because his friend murdered him. Until his murderer is avenged, he can't leave. And it's just about him with this item that's tied to his death that whenever he activates it, he kind of flickers into reality, and it's supposed to be him replaying his death. Now, this is possibly one of the worst movies I have ever made. And the reasoning why I explained the entire plot of it to you before I show it to you is for that reasoning. So have fun watching what's probably the worst movie I've ever made.
Hey, can I get a light?
Welcome back. Wasn't that such a great ride? So let's talk about some of the production of this because it is pretty funny. I used the same GoPro to shoot the entirety of this movie that I used for those POV shots in the last one. And I had bought a mod for it of what's called an anamorphic lens. And simplifying this very much, it basically stretches your image wider so that it looks more cinematic because it has those black bars. However, the camera that I bought it for didn't have a D-squeeze built in, so it looked like this compressed meme version of whatever I was recording when I did it, and I had these close-ups that I thought looked so good because I was like, oh, they only look ridiculous in the viewfinder.
And Paul's filming this and he's like, no, it's an anamorphic lens, so like I need to get super close. And he gets in like, and he's like closer, and it's like literally almost touching our faces. And we're like, can you see this on camera? It's like right here, like literally right here. And we're like, dude, are you sure? Like this is really close. And he's like, no, it's an anamorphic lens. It's gonna be sweet. We're gonna fix it, edit it, this, and post. It's gonna look great. So whatever, we film our shots, and it is the goofiest, like most like fisheye looking shot. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna put up B-roll.
And so we shot this entire movie. We left bags in the background. We shot this on a public walking trail, so we had all this blood and these prop guns, which looked decently real, and just had people walking by us. And so I was so excited to do this and edit this shot, and it just looked absolutely ridiculous. The story is not clear at all because I completely cut it incorrectly, and it ended up being just really bad. And then the funniest story from this entire thing was that this lighter is like the most essential prop that we had, and I completely forgot to bring it to the set.
Okay, the movie is called Hey, Can I Get a Light? Obviously you need the lighter, which Paul was like sticking around in his bag and he's like, I don't have the lighter. And me and Noah are like, ha ha ha. And then he's like, no, like I actually don't have the lighter.
Okay, ready to film?
Yeah, you got the letter?
Fuck.
And I remember walking like through the city, and this was my first time doing that as a little sophomore. And being like crossing crosswalks and traffic is coming and there's construction and we're like navigating our way to this gas station. And we finally get there and I think it was Paul who picks up this lighter and we all kind of like look around and got drinks, that's right. And Paul picks up this lighter and he's like, puts it at the register, and this dude is so, the guy like clerk running it was so sketched out already. It was like 3 teenagers come into his gas station. And Paul's like, okay, 1 lighter, please. And he like slides it forward and the guy's like, no, I'm not doing it. And he literally was, we were like, what do you mean no? And he's like, nope, I'm not selling this lighter to you. Like obviously 3 teenagers coming in to buy a lighter was sketchy. He was like, they're definitely doing drugs with this lighter.
We looked like we were trying to do drugs, and I completely understand that. And I was like, it's for a movie, I promise, can you just let me do this? And he goes, no.
So even though it's not illegal for people under 18 to buy a lighter, they wouldn't sell us one, so we're going elsewhere now.
So we had to drive all the way back home and all the way back to set after walking back through this active construction site just to get this lighter and film this movie in this night and make this absolutely horrendous final product. This takes us to the next film that I'm going to talk about from my sophomore year, 5 Feet Under. Now, you will see why this movie is named that, and this is my first movie that I'm really proud of how I named it. Easton and I, in my freshman year, around winter break, while like Christmas movies were playing in the corner, kind of started talking to each other heavily at this point, and were talking about a movie that we wanted to make for fun, actually. And we had the riveting, never before thought of idea to make a movie about someone drowning, because no popular blockbuster movie has ever made anything about someone being scared of the water or what's in the water or drowning. Let me also say that this was definitely the beginning of me kind of developing my filmmaking style. I had never seen a horror movie at this point, and I was already kind of interested in making movies about death and like making the audience uncomfortable and all of these things. And you'll kind of see that develop a lot more as I talk about more and more of these projects. It was about to rain on the main shoot day that we did the majority of these sequences. We were racing the rain the whole time, and we ended up making this.
Glad we could get away from the party.
Yeah, me too. I really like the quiet a lot more now.
Yeah, I don't like crowds or noise, so I don't know why my mom planned the party.
Yeah, but we still made it fun though.
I have to go to the bathroom. Sammy?
What are you doing here? Oh my gosh, get away!
Take me back. I've changed. I really want you to see the new me.
What are you doing here? Oh my gosh, get away!
Who are you? Are you gonna say so?
But I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling.
So there you go. We drowned him. He was 5 feet under because the pool is 5 feet deep. Haha, it's so cool, right guys? And so it was very difficult to get a female actress to be in this movie in the first place because this is like my sophomore year of high school. I am still terrified to speak to women. And so I had no female friends or anybody who I could ask to go do this.
So I knew someone from my chemistry class, so I asked her if she would do it, and she ended up saying yes. But the problem with that is I actually had feelings for Brooke in real life, and that added a weird vibe to the set for sure. And I remember being so nervous and awkward. And that reminds me, if you look closely in the movie, you could see my like armpit sweat stains because I was so nervous. And the reason I remember that is because this movie, me and Paul did 2 different versions of, I think. And in my version, when I was editing it, I tried to mask out the sweat stains. And it looked terrible. He ends up like drowning me in the pool. And I also remember in filming those scenes, like actually feeling like I was being drowned because he was holding my head like for the point of the movie. And I was trying to breathe all the air out of my lungs to make the bubbles come up and make it look realistic. But when you breathe all the air out of your lungs and someone's like repetitively dipping your head in the water, turns out you like actually are drowning in that moment. So that was scary. And I also remember how much fun we had just messing around on that set, which birthed the film 5 Feet Above, which was a hilarious rendition that Paul has told me he's gonna play for you. So enjoy watching that amazing movie.
Christmas Journey, the next year, it was this club called the Film Club. I was a co-founder with Easton. I'm taking credit for co-founding. And I basically, Easton, loved the man, but, he needed guidance on how to run the club. He's never run a club before. And I, founder of like 2 clubs, president of 5 by my senior year. I kind of knew how clubs work, the inter-club council and stuff. So I really handled all the behind the scenes stuff. And, I was like, hey, Easton, can I use the club to make Christmas Journey? It was like, sure. So there was a couple of meetings where we went out and we actually shot Christmas Journey. But of course, Christmas Journey landed smack in the middle of my campaign for school president election. So I was campaigning at the same time and I had to do all that stuff too. So it really just overlapped and they just ran out of time to really get it done.
We actually shot one of the scenes. It looked rather nice. And then we ran out of time because you need Christmas decorations to be up to record a Christmas movie outside. And we just completely ran out of time again, and Christmas Journey would once again die. So that brings us to our next movie, Nuevas Ofertas. So this movie was actually made for 2 different assignments at the same time. I needed to make some sort of creative project for my Spanish class, and I needed to make a short film for my TV class. And so I decided to put the 2 of them together and make this one movie that would satisfy both of those requirements. There's a lot of Spanish speaking in this movie from me that is absolutely horrendous. If you actually speak Spanish, I apologize in advance. It is terrible. But it led to a semi-interesting movie, which I'll show you right now.
Hola, es. You'll soon find that to be a regular greeting where you're going. We're sending you to Cuba to negotiate a peace treaty with a rival organization. They've expressed interest in facilitating national unity, and we believe someone with your wits is necessary for the job. The only problem we run into is that Alejandro Torres, the leader of this organization, solo habla español.
Huh?
Exactly. We've assigned you a Spanish fundamentals expert to get you up to date on some survival Spanish. He will be here tomorrow. Get on now.
Oh, you must be S. Soy Jason Stadetti, tu profesora de español. ¿Cómo estás?
Huh?
Veo que nosotros tenemos mucho que hacer. Pobrecito, ven aquí. So, let's start with some basic sentences. Repeat after me. Nosotros tenemos los balones de fútbol.
Nosotros tenemos los balones de fútbol.
Muy bien. Mi madre come manzanas.
Mi madre come manzanas.
3 tristes tigres traen trigo en un trigal.
3 tristes tigres tragan trigo en un trigal.
Plus, 3 tristes tigres traen trigo en un trigal.
¿Qué tengo que aprender ahora?
Nada. Sabes que tú necesitas ir a Cuba. Buen trabajo.
¿Cómo saber qué necesito saber? No sé si estoy listo.
Ya tienes el conocimiento que necesitas. No sabes si está listo, pero sí que estás.
De acuerdo. ¿Quién eres? Soy agente S de los Estados Unidos. Soy aquí para hablar con el señor Torres.
Adelante.
Hola, quédense. Pero escucha que tienes interés en hacer un tratado, yo también.
Sí, tengo interés en tristes tigres tragan trigo. ¿Qué? Dije que tengo interés en tristes tigres tragan trigo.
No tiene sentido.
Me gustan tus chistes.
Bien, acércate al tratado.
Perdón mi español malo. El tratado, sí. Mi madre como el tratado.
Debo decir, admiro tu esfuerzo aprender el idioma, porque lo hiciste firmó el trabajo, el tratado.
Gracias, no me hablo español muy bien. Me entiendo, hablo un idioma extranjero, pero es muy duro para aprender.
Alright, Niall, so I don't know what they told you, but I'm fluent in English, so yeah.
wasn't that just the greatest Spanish you've ever seen of your life? The production of this was rather funny. So we recorded at this house in the woods that one of my friend's parents owned, and we shot out here just before sunset. And so like in this shot here, Noah's actually standing on multiple 2x4s so that we'd be at the same eye level because of how uneven the outside ground is, because this was in the woods and the ground was completely uneven. And then the main thing that's particularly funny about this movie is that in this final sequence, it just becomes progressively darker shot by shot because the sun just went down. And this was before I had any lights or we brought anything like that to these shoots. So Jordan, who's the person who's sitting here with me, gave his phone, I gave my phone, and Noah used his phone and had all of our phone flashlights held up like this, just side by side across the way, just to put enough light on our faces that you could see us.
I just remember being in class one day and Paul really needed this interview, or like an interview scene, or like a talking scene. And I remember being really awkward because I think our teacher, Miss Parker, had the freshmen in that period like watching us for experience, like on-set experience. And it was really awkward, like trying to speak broken Spanish and like memorizing words and lines that I didn't even know what they meant, and trying to like say them, but also trying to be like cool in front of the freshmen because of course you're gonna try to do that at that age. And I remember being really uncomfortable.
But ultimately, this movie actually won me an All Florida award at FSPA, which is the Florida Scholastic Press Association, which I still don't know how it won, but I'll take it because I was one of, I think, 7 winners for that competition. So the final project that I would make in my sophomore year is called The Odds. And so for this assignment, we were assigned to make a movie that was about Star Wars, and it had to include a lightsaber. And so me, being the cheery, upbeat writer that I am, decided to make a movie that was based on All Quiet on the Western Front, which, if you don't know, is a drama about World War I, talking about how terrible war conditions were and how the war was ultimately pointless and killed a ton of people. And so this is what I ended up making.
Hey Doma, I just wanted you to know that no matter how much we disagree on your choices, I will always love you. You are the strongest-willed woman that I know. Somehow, even stronger than your mother. Those rebels do not stand a chance against the little monster I raised. So, when you're ready to come home, I'll always be here waiting for you. And again, I love you.
Private! Do you copy? Private!
I copy, sir.
We have a hot target on the ground. Get to the rifle now.
Jedi? General, the target's a Jedi. Any shot would almost certainly be useless and expose my position.
Do you think I give a damn? Line up! Private!
Sir, I have a shot.
Then finally do your state a favor and take... An absolute war, and I will not tolerate any other excuse. Take the shot now! Do it. How did you manage to shot direct into me? No one makes sense.
And there you go, that was the Star Wars film that I made. So there's actually a rather lot of funny production moments that happened for this. This was shot at a frisbee golf course. And so a majority of this movie was shot during the day, and then I used special effects called day for night color grading to make it look like it was shot at nighttime. However, there are a bunch of shots in this movie that are actually shot at nighttime. However, this park closed at sundown. And so when we were leaving, there was a park ranger who was waiting for us so that he could close the gate without blocking our cars in on this frisbee golf course. However, as you saw in the movie, one of us had this. And so what this is my dad and I, very large credit to my father, basically gutted a Nerf gun that I had. This has none of the internals in it, spray painted it matte black, finished it, it has a matte finish and all these things, and it looks great. It looks like a Star Wars sniper rifle. I thought we were gonna get in so much trouble. Like, it looks like we're just holding a rifle. But I think the fact that my lead actor, Jordan, was in a Jedi costume and holding a light wand like this to guide us forwards was enough that he knew that this was fake. And I think the dude just wanted to go home. So he let us just in plain sight load this into my car and leave after his hours so that we wouldn't get locked in the frisbee golf course and go home. And I still think that that is absolutely hilarious. The entirety of this movie was shot on my phone. It actually was this phone, with a few lens mods and things along those lines, as I was buying stuff to get a proper camera, and I was saving over this time period because I knew that I wanted to get a proper camera and make some proper visuals, but it costs a lot of money, so I was saving. It would also be around this time that I, while doing dog walking for somebody, because I did these very long walks where I was kind of just left with my thoughts, was thinking about Schrodinger's principles, and they're very complicated ideas. And I kind of came up with this stupidly complicated movie idea where I would take Schrodinger's gun, Schrodinger's cat, and Schrodinger's equation, and then combine them in some way into a narrative where these characters in a science show break the fourth wall and end up in a life or death situation based off of these paradoxes. But I had no idea how to do it. I told the idea to Easton and Noah.
I remember him pitching this idea to us and us both being like, huh? Like, we had no idea what he was talking about, and both of us were like, no.
Both of them were just kind of really confused and brushed off the idea. But it would kind of sit in my mind, and I would think about this movie a lot and semi-frequently, but it didn't end up getting made. So with that, we move into my junior year. And so the first project that I'm going to talk about here is actually the second movie that I made in my junior year, which is called Rob Your Heart. Now, the reasoning I'm not going to talk about the first one is because in the beginning of this year, a lot of people that I had known and worked with in the previous year graduated. I knew that I needed a new group of people, and Karsten and I had known each other minimally from working on one film convention together to make an absolutely horrendous movie.
It doesn't really have any context, but it's just circled. This is green wall.
There's a green wall.
His friend Noah was gone. Antonio wasn't in that class. So when Miss Parker assigned our first assignment, we just kind of looked at each other, and I think I went over to him and was like, hey, do you want to work together? And he was like, yeah.
In the beginning of that year, we would then also make a movie called It Lies Silent. I'm not showing you this film because it is silent, half in black and white, and we did get to shoot on a real film set to do this because I somehow managed to convince some lady to let us do it for free, but the movie is terrible and doesn't make any sense, so I didn't want to waste your time. This would be the second project that we would work on. And this was an assignment in which we were told to submit into the STN, Student Technical Network, 1-minute Horror Fest challenge. And we were given a prompt that was, the movie had to be at max 1 minute long, including credits, and it had to be something about the dangers of technology.
Paul spent a lot of time writing the backstory of a character that ended up not really mattering at all.
I remember in particular, we had like a 4-hour-long phone call about whether or not it should have taken place in 1998 or 2001. It doesn't fucking matter. The main thing in this movie that was particularly significant was that we had a few weeks to make this. I think we actually had a full month to work on this project. But we got hit by 2 back-to-back hurricanes when we were supposed to make this, and lost 2 weeks of our filming, and then didn't do anything for the first week of our pre-production, which is entirely our fault. And so we had to make this entire movie in like 4 days. This was also the first project that I shot with my newly purchased camera, which was a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. It makes these movies look so much better. And so this is what we ended up making.
To top it all off, your hookup proposal was terrible.
So that movie and its production has a lot of interesting parts. The first one is pertaining to Gray and Gray's character outfit. When we made this movie, this was around the time that I was less terrified to speak to women, and there were 2 girls who were going to work on the production of this, and they both needed to be in my room in order to film this. Now, my parents were not too thrilled about this idea, and it took a lot of convincing in order to get this to happen. And so I tested all these shots and did all these things with only Karsten so that there wouldn't be any issues and we'd be able to film everything on set. But and to be clear, I did not request the outfit that this character wore. This was determined by other people who were working on our set. Gray comes to meet my parents, the girl who they've never met before, who's gonna be in my room for like 5 hours at night, dressed in the character outfit that you see in this movie.
So Rob Your Heart was the first film that I pretty much ever worked on, but mainly the first film I worked on with Paul. At this point in time, I don't think I'd ever acted in any sort of film. I'd been on the news before at school, but it's not really the same as playing an actual role. And I showed up to Paul's house in my requested outfit, and I didn't realize that this outfit, you know, it wasn't necessarily very modest. It was supposed to be for a teenage girl character in like the early 2000s wearing, you know, something kind of bratty, I guess. And I greeted his parents for the first time wearing this outfit with no jacket or anything, and I don't know what they must have thought of me.
Additionally, while shooting this, we had to drive to Best Buy the day of in order to get the necessary cable to connect my PC to the CRT monitor. And Karsten was actually editing pieces of what would go on that screen in my car as I drove us to that store.
The hardest part of that film was figuring out how in the world to do that glitch effect. And so what I ended up doing is spending an entire night. This was the day before the shoot. I downloaded like 4 old programs. I ended up downloading this messaging programs like open source Microsoft Messenger, but it was somebody reviving. So I tried one of those. So what I did is I created my own private server and I put that on into our main PC, cut it up, I went so that it looked like computer and data model, get it right 17 times. If any old people out there know AOL, give me a whoop or a clap, yeah? No, okay.
But overall, it went pretty well, and we made a movie that is way too fast-paced, but pretty decent. So that brings us to my next but also most disastrous shoot, Brick by Brick. I'll get into everything that went wrong in this production afterwards, but just know that this was our 3rd quarter unprompted exam project, and we disagreed rather significantly on what we wanted to make, going through iterations of making movies that were about nostalgia or something that had no plot but was just a bunch of pretty colors and stuff. We had an idea about a vampire working at an Italian restaurant that didn't know that they were a vampire. And I think there was like also a coming out queer story. None of us agreed on what to make. There was a lot of convolution between it. Karsten would also, much later down the line, make a mock trailer of this movie because he thought it would be funny. However, because I can control the order in which you view these, I'm gonna show you that trailer first.
It's f***ing Santa Claus.
Rudolph, I have terrible news to share with you.
Not like this, Santa.
Checked my list twice and made my decision twice. It's time for you, Golf Club, to die.
I'll be back, Santa. I'll be back.
And now, here is the actual film. Okay, Karsten, this is cool, but we can't do this. We need to have the essentials of a story. What you have is a video, it's not a film.
But it's an action sequence. People love action sequences.
Yeah, but they love action sequences when they have context. What you made has no context. I mean, just imagine that.
And what exactly is wrong with that?
Well, there's nothing that makes the video interesting. There's no factor that makes it different from any other film.
You wanted to fight Santa Claus or something?
I mean, literally anything works.
Well then hell yeah!
But we don't have an actor with a beard.
That, my friend, is why we have movie magic.
Santa's coming tonight. Santa's coming tonight.
But it's still an action sequence.
Obviously.
You've been really naughty, Golf Club.
I mean, that's a start, but we still need more. We don't have a full film.
What more could you want from that? That's an entertaining concept.
Well, the characters need motives.
Like what? It's f***ing Santa Claus.
What if we brought in an antagonist?
We could do that, like a rebellious elf or something.
Yeah, we could do an elf uprising, like a labor union or something.
Or we could do a reindeer uprising. I really want to see Santa get beat up by a reindeer.
I mean, yeah, but there's no motive to that, and we would need to choose a specific reindeer.
Well, if we're gonna do a reindeer, we're gonna do Rudolph.
I mean, yeah, but like, why would he be fighting Santa? They're supposed to be friends. Santa's not gonna just euthanize his primary reindeer for no reason. There's still no motive.
Okay, hear me out.
Rudolph, I have terrible news to share with you. Unfortunately, the doctors came back with a new reindeer that has a green nose. And everybody knows a green nose is better than a red nose. So, unfortunately, that means your time as a reindeer has come to an end.
Oh, no. Oh, God. No, Santa, please. Not like this, Santa. Please, Santa.
It's too late, Rudolph. I've checked my list twice and made my decision twice. It's time for you to die.
Okay, that is insane, but hell yeah.
I got the best ideas, what can I say?
Sure, man. Only thing is, we're missing the most essential part of the story. Character development! I just don't know how we develop Rudolph. How would he change?
Oh, what if he decided to fight back?
Like, but he's been fighting back. That's not a change.
Was there more reindeer?
Like a reindeer uprising?
Exactly.
Okay, the last thing we need to make is a really good story, some sort of emotionally deep aspect. Now, this is already so insane, I think we could add pretty much anything.
I don't know how to make it more emotional. It's already about betrayal.
Well, what if we made it about a betrayal of lovers? That's a more heavy-hitting trope.
I don't know about that one, man.
No. Trust. It'll be great.
You know what? We're done. We're out of here.
Okay, so now let's talk about the absolute production hellhole that was this movie. So, firstly, we need to shoot when it's completely dark outside. We have barely any good lighting, and the sunset is 2 hours later than I thought it was gonna be. We are filming in the middle of the woods with like a million mosquitoes. There's bears in my neighborhood, and we're in this sort of central area that is in the middle of my development, which is a 2.5 mile circle that just goes around this area. This was filmed right around Christmas time, as you can probably tell, and it was the Santa Claus fire truck day when we did this. So we get there, we start to film while it's still dry outside, foreshadowing, and this fire truck is going around blaring its sirens the whole time. It takes like 25 minutes for it to get through the neighborhood. We can't record anything with audio in that time.
Drove to his house instead of to the filming location. I got stuck behind a fire truck with Santa Claus on it, which is pretty cool. I got some free candy out of it.
And we show up on set, and it starts raining. All of the gear gets covered in rain. It's terrible. The microphone, everything. All we had was a bucket full of stuff. So like some stuff was bagged, but most of the stuff, notebooks, our scripts, everything was getting poured down on.
It becomes extremely difficult to film, we're all soaking wet, and morale is extremely low. Our movie is now also completely destroyed because everything that we shot can't be used because the continuity would be messed up from it being dry to it being soaking wet.
So we were trying to figure out how to salvage this shoot, and Antonio says, I have Santa Claus in my car.
I just got my Santa Claus costume out of my car, you know. I don't know why I had it in my car. I had the golf club in my car to do a commercial for Top Golf event.
What? Yeah, and reindeer ears too. Antlers too. Excuse me?
I went off on my own to go stand kind of in the woods on a bridge by myself so that I could collect myself and try to have us have a final project that wouldn't fail us this exam. All that I could think about was how much the 9 weeks that we had spent on this project had been of no use. And so I decided, what if we made a movie about how difficult the creative process can be? And so I came back, we pitched this idea. Antonio was like, do you guys want to use the golf club Santa Claus costume and reindeer antlers that I have in my car? Because of course he does, because he's Antonio.
I was just like, sure man, let's do Santa Claus. Let's do Santa Claus, whatever, sure. So Antonio changes, he does that. Joviel puts on the reindeer antlers. We're shooting this, they're beating each other up. Paul asks me, I'm sitting on the ground with the camera or something, and Paul asks me, why are they fighting? And I'm like, I literally said, maybe there's an elf uprising or a reindeer uprising. He's like, okay. And I thought he was joking with me. I really did. I thought this was a bit. I thought he was just so far gone that he was just asking me questions out of like sarcasm and anger. But no, he was for real. Like he was like, okay, we can do that.
And so the conversations that you see between Karsten and I playing our characters is actually real conversations that he and I had while everybody else on this set watched us to come up with these scenes. They were completely improvised on set.
Foggy. Okay, so our story is Santa Claus euthanizing Rudolph the reindeer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's not interesting enough anymore. They found a green-nosed reindeer.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's our story, guys.
Shots were improvised. Everything was improvised. And then we went back later and shot the in-betweens, the dramatized versions of those conversations in order to stitch this all together. We managed to get 100. Our teacher, Ms. Parker, showed it in class, which was extremely embarrassing. And we ended up making the most disastrous movie that I had ever made. Unsurprisingly, as it was Christmas time, Antonio once again tried to pursue Christmas Journey.
Well, Christmas Journey, you know, the third time I got around now, there's like 5 versions of it at this point, but all elaborating. This one we threw in a love triangle on the thing for it between the jock and the Christian girl and the drug user.
This time, I said no. End of story. So our next one is Spider-Man. And this was an assignment that we made very simply. We needed to make a quick sketch that was very heavily implementing green screen. We came to do Spider-Man because this was around the time in which I had been working and looking into college application films. And one of the big things that they tell you is to write around what you have access to.
So we were thinking of costumes we had access to, and one of those things was a Spider-Man costume, specifically Miles Morales.
And so we made this movie. It's really cool how we made it, but I'm gonna show it to you first and then explain how I made it. So here it is.
Hey, what's up? Or down, I guess.
Spider-Man, we're trying to collect clothes for dry cleaning, but our tether broke.
Your tether?
We connect the tether from the fire escapes to the trucks so customers can zip their clothes down and we can get them faster.
Interesting. I think I can get you a new tether. Hold on. Just need to hold these together. Oh. I'm good.
I think you pulled a little hard, Spider-Man.
Yeah, how about I just go grab those clothes for you?
Sounds good to me, just don't overshoot with these too.
Ha ha.
Spidey-Man! Okay, so we had Spider-Man, Karsten, play Miles Morales because, you know, the half Puerto Rican, half black kid, that's him right there.
But I got to be Spider-Man, all right? It was me the whole time. I've had Spider-Man costumes since I was a kid. Now, to be fair, this one was a step up, but not by much because we didn't have a face cover. Fun fact, all Spider-Man costumes, especially in the movies, have a faceplate. And that's because no matter what, when you have a Spider-Man helmet on, not a helmet, a Spider-Man mask on, you're gonna look like a chud because your jaw is not as big as the original drawings of Spider-Man were in the comics. And so all the movies have a faceplate to give the actors that perfect jawline. And that's why Spider-Man looks the way he does and why I look like an AirPod. But yeah, I found a rope. Where did we get that rope from? We got a rope from the school gym, which when you ask the school gym teacher, hey, do you have a sturdy rope that I can hang from? They don't give you a good look. But he reluctantly gave me one anyways. I took it home, I hung it around a sturdy tree branch in my backyard. And so I was in my backyard and I was like, I wonder if I could hang upside down on this rope like Spider-Man does on a web. And turns out I could, and it looked really good practically. We have a green screen behind me where I'm hanging upside down. The background of that was actually a PS5 game. It's Sony's Spider-Man 2. And I went around the city swinging around in game as Miles Morales. And I found the perfect spot for our background, which was really cool. I screenshotted it and then green screened it.
So basically, this movie was also based off of something that actually happens in New York City called the Chinatown Zipline. So I knew about this from a Casey Neistat video. I love this man, I love his vlogs, and this is part of it. It's an actual thing where they would string dry cleaning clothes from New York City windows down to the trucks. It was very cool. The reasoning that I knew about this is because I've been watching a ton of vlogs and all these things about New York City, and I've been obsessed with this place since I was a kid. And as I got more and more into film, I looked into schools and found out that one of the top film programs in the US, number 2 or number 1 on the list depending on the year, is NYU, New York University, which is in Manhattan. I, at this point, was completely obsessed with getting into this school. I knew that I wanted to go here, I knew it was my dream. However, of course, it has a 6% acceptance rate. So I did not have very high hopes, but just know that the majority of the films that I made at this point, a little bit earlier and everything afterwards, were completely driven by trying to get into this school. So the next project is the Your Clothes music video, which this is very relevant to and you will understand when you watch it. This was the final project of my junior and Karsten's senior year and kind of acted as like a capstone. It was definitely the best thing that we made in that time.
Your Clothes is my favorite thing that I made in high school. Like, bar none, like, way, 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 way better than anything else. Well, okay, not way better than everything else, but definitely my personal favorite. The entire school year, I had been begging and begging and begging our teacher to let us do a music video. I wanted to do a music video so bad. Because here's the thing with music videos. Movies have stories. Music videos are hype moments in aura. They can have stories, but also if they're cool enough, they don't need a story. And so you can imagine my surprise when we have to make a cohesive story timed to our music video.
I knew this was a big deal for him, so I gave no input on what song to choose and just kind of went through the ones that he suggested and found the one that I could best write a story into, because Karsten is very good at visuals and I'm pretty good at story. So when we needed to put a story to the visuals, he and I worked very heavily together to make this. This movie was edited in its entirety by Karsten. So you will understand why that's significant when you watch it, but know that I did not take any credit for this editing. It's entirely him. Also, this movie allowed me to realize some more of my taste for blood in movies and the fun in murdering people on screen, which was certainly a development that would continue more and more throughout my senior year. So, without further ado, your clothes. Okay, that was your close. So this movie still holds the longest shoot day record for me. We did 3 different shoot days for this movie, the first of which was 14 hours long. And in the latter half of that day, we shot these scenes, which are the ones that play after the murder. And that's filmed in my bedroom during the middle of the day. So we used probably like 15 blankets to black out my windows with the curtain rods that were hanging above them so that there would be absolutely no light in this room. And people were getting like seasonal depression from this. Like, we were getting very angry at each other, everyone was getting upset, and you would then open the door into my hallway and like everything was better because of the daylight. It was insane how much that affects your mood. Gray stared at this CRT TV for like the better part of those 4 hours, and I felt so bad for them because they were talking about how they could see like shapes and stuff in the static because of how long they'd been staring at this static.
This was so much fun, for me at least. I thought that music video was so much fun. It was one of the most fun times I've had on a set. And overall, it's one of my most favorite projects, I would say, to this day. Yeah, ultimately, I had so much fun on that set, except for in the very last scene where I was wearing Sean's shirt and it was covered in sweat and blood and it was disgusting. I don't know what happened, but I just like had a breakdown laying there in the grass. I was so overstimulated, I was upset. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I started crying in the very last scene.
Gray was low-key losing their mind because there was so much sticky blood. And one of the shots in that music video, I did this without permission. I used a shot of Gray low-key freaking out about the blood because it looked so good.
And I felt so bad because everyone was really worried about me. And they were like, what's going on? Like, what happened? I just couldn't even describe it. I was like, I'm just so overwhelmed right now.
Hey, it looked really good. It looks like they're freaking out about how they just killed this person.
We filmed the murder sequence on a completely separate day, and we filmed it around this lake in a private neighborhood where Karsten lived. And like, there's so much blood, axe murder, everything. And people were just watching us do this. Like, they were just staring at us from across the lake. I genuinely thought we were gonna get the cops called on us, and I was very happy that we didn't.
Sean was a trooper though. Sean got hit with axes. Sean got dunked in blood basically. Like, he was good. He was laying in the grass with sticky blood all over him. He's literally getting hit with a rubber axe. He was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. Yeah, keep hitting me actually. I kinda, no.
Next is Our Girlfriend. So I made this movie over the summer before my senior year, and it was for a class that I had been taking called the Rolling Stone NYU TV and Film Essentials class. It was an online class, and over the course of this project, you were supposed to make a short film. There was no prompt, no anything for this film. I could make it about literally anything that I wanted. And so I made the decision to write a story that paralleled what was happening in my life at the time. You'll be able to figure that out pretty easily from this. And so let's go ahead and watch that.
Hello?
Hello, Brad. I am Brad. I heard you want to talk about a bird farm of soul today.
Well, that feels like an extreme way to put it.
I apologize. That's just the way you worded it. Now we're ahead.
Okay, you don't have to be so rude, but yes, I do want to talk about this bird.
Well, from what I can tell, we're dealing with the guilt of wondering whether or not this is our fault.
Correct.
Well, that's simple. We're in the right. We know that already.
But what if I'm in the wrong?
Well, we've never experienced that now, so we know we're in the right.
But deep down, it doesn't feel like I am. Or at least, it doesn't feel like I should claim that I'm 100% in the right.
So we don't talk about it. We don't talk about problems.
But I want to talk about it.
That's not like us. So, no, we don't want to talk about it.
Talk to me.
No.
I literally made you just to talk to me.
But you made us to hide how we feel from the world.
Hey Brad, want to go to that science fair today?
Yeah, I'll go.
Do you have something to submit?
Yeah. I have something to submit.
Alright, well you're mad talented, so I'll see you there.
Alright, I'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go. So as you can see, there was a lot of VFX in this movie. Primarily, I knew that I wanted to do some sort of cloning effect, as this was one that I had done a lot in the past. And I was like, okay, let me go all in. My computer got very angry at me for the way that this emulation and simulation ran, but ultimately, I think it ended up pretty good.
Well, one thing that I really tried to do is actually make the hologram version of me and the real life version of me look different. And I think I did a decent job. I tried to change my voice a bit, give it more vocal fry, make me feel more like a robot.
My friend Dylan came and did this movie for me. It was supposed to take like 4.5 hours. It ended up taking closer to 8 hours. And then in return, which if you are a young filmmaker watching this for whatever reasoning, just offer people food. They will do anything for food, teenagers specifically. He did 8 hours of filming and I repaid him by driving him like 25 minutes and bought him Raising Cane's. This was also the first movie that I would ever make with these new amazing lights that I had bought. I would ultimately end up using these lights in every single movie that I would make after I purchased them. So to the version of me that said, are these gonna be worth the money? Yes, they actually completely changed it and made everything so much better. Ultimately, I'm actually pretty happy with how it came out, but my computer crashed multiple times in the process of editing that, and that's when I kind of started to get into making effects that the PC that I was using to edit wasn't able to handle because it wasn't powerful enough. This brings me to what is my personal favorite story I've still ever written, One New Follower. This movie was made at a point in my life in which I became the busiest that I had ever been. I was walking directly into my senior year and my college applications, and I knew that I needed to put everything that I had into this NYU application. The NYU film application is no simple task. I'm actually gonna read you everything that I needed to do directly from my phone because it's insane. The NYU application includes the common application, a creative essay about your most general college essay, responses about how you learned better through your experiences in your field, an autobiographical video called a Your Selfie, which is the video that I showed you at the very beginning of this movie about myself, and most notably, a short length that was capped at 5 minutes in length. This film is that film. I knew that I wanted to make a completely new movie for this project as I wanted to make something that truly shined my voice as a filmmaker, particularly one that wasn't limited by the censorship of my school projects, and also something that was a completely new story that I wrote with no limitations placed on me. Originally, this story was actually supposed to be about a childhood story between my sister and I, in which she tried to launch me onto the roof of our house in New Jersey to get a stuffed animal down with a seesaw. Ultimately, I ended up wanting to move a little bit more about the lying aspect of it because my sister and I inherently lied to our parents when that happened, and ended up wanting to make something that was about a court case with a drunk driver. When I realized that I wouldn't be able to do that and wasn't able to flesh that out the way that I wanted to, it ultimately ended up being iterated into the final movie, which was a Final Destination inspired horror movie that's about a terrible person getting what they deserve. This movie also played particularly into my writing style, as I wanted to show my voice as a filmmaker, which at this point included a very large amount of blood and gore. I knew that I loved to write kills, and I knew that I wanted to emphasize them as much as I could, and that's why this movie ultimately ended up being inspired by Final Destination, which is certainly known for both of those things. There is a ton about this movie that I think is super interesting, but I want to show it to you first before I talk about it. So here is still my personal favorite movie I've ever made.
Look at this costume! I absolutely ate. I love it so much. It's so cute.
You know, we kind of have that question.
Oh my god. It's funny to actually like with this party.
Hey.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, stuck the landing!
Oh my gosh, my girlfriend is absolutely insane. She thinks I'm too trusting. She thinks that if I just post everything on social media, something bad's gonna happen. She just needs to understand that, you know what, it's okay to post your life because I want to update my followers, because I love and trust my followers, and I just want to be able to share my life. I should be able to do that. My girlfriend is just absolutely insane.
I'm so glad I took those boots off. They were killing me.
I can't believe you stayed and actually helped clean up. I assume my literal girlfriend would, but she's just so very tired.
Poor princess needs her beauty sleep.
Honestly, you should get going though. It's getting kind of late. I mean, what time is it?
3:27.
Yeah, I got this handled. Just go.
But I'd feel so bad. There's still so much to clean.
Really, it's fine. I got it.
Fine. But how about one more drink before I go?
Only if you pour it.
Done. I'll make you my specialty.
What the hell are you doing?
Serena, let me explain. I'll call the cops. You're okay, I promise.
Stay away from me.
I have a perfectly good explanation for all this. I just need you to put the phone down and give me a minute to explain. I just need you to trust me.
Okay, I'll wait outside.
So there is one new follower. That movie is very fast-paced, which was mostly due to needing to fit it within those 5 minutes. However, the production of this was actually extremely fun. We filmed this outside in my lanai, and we had this purple light that was the new light that I had bought at nighttime on full blast, which is extremely bright. And it was just shining directly onto and into our neighbor's house. And we shot this overnight, so it did not turn off at nighttime. And I still feel so bad about this for our neighbors.
So I didn't fully know like what I was totally getting into because Paul had asked me to do an overnight shoot, and I was like, oh, okay, like I had helped out like a little bit before on another film, but this time it was like an acting side, and I was like, oh, like this could be fun, but I was like, ooh, overnight.
Paul texted me and he asked if I would be willing to do like an 8 p.m. one day to 6 a.m. the next day, like overnight shoot, and I literally think my exact text response was, hell no.
I think I was on all the overnight shoots. It didn't faze me very much. I stay up all night all the time. So it was kind of just whatever for me, but everyone else was like, they were taking naps, they were tired, like it was definitely a bit difficult for everybody. But I don't know, I was having fun.
I was off of like 4 coffees.
He had coffee, and that was my lifesaver.
In terms of the actual production of this movie though, there were some very, at least funny things in my opinion. This movie was originally supposed to have a male and female cast. Ultimately though, because of who I was able to get cast, because I wanted to have good actors play this and not just people who wanted to act, I ended up having 2 female actors who were both very good at what they did. The funny outcome that this has is that it means that I had to rewrite the script to gender swap one of the characters, which leads to the final draft of this movie being called the lesbian draft.
However, I did get hurt a lot. I did get hurt a lot in that movie. It wasn't too bad, like I could totally handle it. It's not like I would have needed like a stunt person or something like that. Like I don't think the ask was too huge, but yeah, I did get hurt a lot. The fact that I had to pretend to be in so much pain, it got to my head a little bit. The whole time, just because I was like thinking in my head, I was like, I'm in pain, like I have to be acting like it. And then it kind of, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I almost start to feel that pain. It was, I don't know, it was kind of weird.
So I took a nap on the couch for about an hour because I wasn't needed at the time. And so I just woke up and walked back outside to just find like blood and fake glass all over the ground. And it was it looked so real, like it was so cool. But I was like half asleep, so I like chugged another energy drink, and at this point too, I was like losing my voice, so I was like half asleep, half voice gone, but I still really wanted to be able to help out, and it was such a cool experience overall.
But I remember showing up to this other shoot that he had asked me to do that was just like a night shoot, and it was just me, Karsten, and Paul. And we filmed like just the shots that had no actors. So like one of them, actually my favorite, I don't know, we did a lot of cool stuff. I think my favorite one was a bottle. And so like, oh yeah, in one of the scenes, we wanted a shot of the bottle tipping off, but we had only had one prop bottle. And so I think it was Roger or Karsten was behind the camera holding it. Paul was pushing the bottle, and I was supposed to catch it like before it would hit the ground because we didn't want it to actually shatter yet.
There was a ton of different practical effects that we needed in order to do this, including retracting blades, hand blades. Those canes are two different canes, one that has part of it cut out so that it can look like her head is on it. Gray completely laid their hair in fake blood and like stained their hair down the side temporarily. I got to stomp out cups that were on fire. We shattered an actual vodka bottle across my floor in order to do this, although obviously the glass that Gray stands on is sugar glass. This is also the first movie in which people started to say that I put feet in all of my movies.
Oh, Paul really likes feet, by the way. He keeps including Gray's feet in our films. If you look back at Rob Your Heart, it starts with a shot of Gray walking into the character's room with no shoes on. If you look at this film, Gray is stepping in glass with no shoes on. Originally, it was supposed to be with no socks on either.
And it really upsets me because they're technically not wrong, but it was necessary for this one because she steps on glass and that hurts. So the next movie I'm going to talk about is Schrodinger. This idea that I had mentioned back in my sophomore year had been festering in my brain. I knew that I wanted to make it. I didn't care what anybody else thought. I wanted to make the idea. And I talked to a few other people about it. They said, yeah, it's probably a good idea to make it, although it's really complicated. And so ultimately, over the summer leading to my senior year, I decided to write the movie. And in the same time that I was shooting One New Follower, I decided to actually shoot this film. And so the reasoning that I chose to shoot it at this time, which was the most busy time in my life, I was sleeping an average of 3 hours a night, was because I wanted to be able to write that I wrote and directed that movie on my creative resume for NYU to make it look stronger. I was extremely embarrassed on the first shoot day of doing this. For context, I go to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights every year, which is their event where they run haunted houses. I got home around 2 or 3 in the morning, and 2 of the people who were on the shoot the next day were actually there with me.
Day one of shoot, we showed up at 7 a.m. after going to Horror Nights, closing out Horror Nights at 2 a.m., getting home around 3 a.m. I was one of the people that he went to Horror Nights with that night. And of course I wake up because I have a physical alarm that is really annoying and won't turn off. I show up, everyone else, they're all sitting at the door, and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, he's not awake. I'm like, did you call him? They go, no. So I call him and he answers. I was like, hey, we're outside right now, where are you? It was really funny, but it was understandable because he was, I think, I like 2 hours of sleep.
It is still one of the most embarrassing moments that I have ever had on a film shoot, and I am still so sorry to everybody else who was part of this. However, what is also important to know is that this is still the time in which my PC was somewhat limiting my editing capabilities. I knew that I wanted to do some very strong VFX shots in this movie, and when I tried to edit them on this PC, once we had actually shot this, with the 1.2 terabytes of footage that we had shot for this movie, I was simply not able to do it. So this movie ended up getting docked and shot, but not edited for however long. I didn't know how long it would be until I could get a better computer, and unfortunately that was the end of Schrodinger for the time being. So after making One New Follower and shooting Schrodinger, I was able to finally put together all of the rest of my NYU application. This process would lose me a ton of sleep. It took me 3 total months to put together all of the resources that were needed for this. That was in mid-November. And so I knew that December 17th was their decision day, and I had to sit through this like painstaking month of not knowing what was going to happen, what was happening. And finally comes December 17th. I had actually been so stressed out on this day that I, who does not use social media, had downloaded Facebook for Facebook Marketplace, and I was scrolling Facebook Reels to distract myself from how stressed I was throughout this entire day. And so I go through the entire school day, no decision has come out, and I'm in a subway at this point. And while in this subway, I finally see that the decision has come in. And everybody talks about, oh, I wanted to record, oh, the thought that went through my head. There were no thoughts. I opened that letter immediately. And I got in. This was a monumental moment in my life. I had worked for years and years to do this. It was a major life turn, and I am still so extremely happy about this. You know, it's fun because this is like the time freeze moment, right? I have no idea what my experiences in New York are gonna be like, and I'm kind of just sitting here, just waiting to see what happens. It was Christmas time. So at this point, you might know what that means, but Antonio rolled back around and asked me to make Christmas Journey once again. This time, I had a different answer for him. I said, I do want to make Christmas Journey, but if we're gonna make it, we need to make it by some different rules. The first thing is that the movie is not gonna be longer than 5 minutes long. The second thing is that we need to write it and boil it down to its basic components so that it functions as a short film. We used my writing experience and Antonio's humor to put this together, and actually co-wrote the script at a sleepover at his house overnight, which when you watch it, you might understand why some of the jokes were written at like 4 in the morning. And we shot it right after Christmas, so we still had my Christmas tree, everything was up, and ultimately got to make this movie, which is actually called Hung with Care, which was supposed to be only 5 minutes long. However, at the time was actually the longest film we had ever shot and ended up being 7 minutes long. Enjoy.
Who are you?
Oh, you know who I am. The question is, who are you? Where are these cookies? What's here? Pork chops. Liver. There it is. The good stuff.
Why are you in my house?
Boy. Question is, what are you doing awake on Christmas Eve?
I was hanging myself.
That's interesting. Well, this is not very structurally sound at all. No, not at all. This will never work. If you want, I can have my elves make you a better one in the North Pole. Here, take this. Okay. What's wrong, Chrissy?
It's my first Christmas without my father.
Oh, yeah.
How did you do that?
I can bring back your father. I think it's ready. Oh, Merry Christmas. See? Your father's back. More merrier than ever. Cookie. You know, Elf Scouts can help you tie that knot better. And they let girls in now.
What is wrong with you?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with you. Maybe you should just be a little bit more merry. That fixes all my problems.
Don't you think I would have done that if it was an option? I've got a lot going on here if you couldn't tell.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yes.
Why?
There's nobody there for me now, so why should I continue living?
Oh, look at me. Christmas spirit is dying. Less people are believing. But I still do this every single year because I know I can make a change. And I know you can too.
That's kind of a good point.
Cookie?
And you clearly don't care at all.
Cookie good.
Cookies are good. Made with some salt, but also some sugar. And it all comes together to make something great. Kinda just like life. You know, Santa, I might give life one more try.
Just as I planned.
Oh no, you are of almost no help at all.
Merry Christmas.
Isn't that just such a cheery ending, guys? This shoot was supposed to end at 1 in the morning. Ultimately, it ended at 5:30 in the morning.
That set was the most disgusting, grossest, most uncomfortable situation that I've ever been in, like as an actor. Oh my God.
I remember dreading filming it. I just didn't want to do it. It was just the holidays, I was stressed. I'm like, fine, I'll do it.
There were just plenty of scenes in that where things were very gross, like the spit take, that was kind of gross. Sniffling in his beard, that was pretty gross too. And I expected this, and I knew it going into that situation, that was what the situation would be. But I didn't realize fully until I was on that set that day what I was getting into.
Actually, I thought it was a dream because all I knew was I sat down on the couch and woke up at 8 a.m. at Paul's house, looked around, and everything was put away, and I was like, did we actually film anything? You know, or did Paul drug me?
I was actually very happy with the way that it came out. Yeah. So the second to last movie that I have for you is called Red Sauce. So this movie was actually one of the concepts that we came up with originally for Brick by Brick that didn't get made. The Italian restaurant vampire one. Ultimately, I ended up thinking that this movie came out pretty well, although a lot of things went wrong in the process of making it. But here is what we ended up making.
Hi, Edward.
You can call me Eddie. Giuseppina?
It's pronounced Josephina, but just call me Josephina.
Well, Giuseppina, that is a beautiful name, and I would never call you anything else. It is so nice to finally meet you in the flesh.
It's nice to meet you too.
So what did the lovely lady put on the menu tonight?
Well, I'd love to show you.
I just wanted to tell you that you look absolutely stunning tonight.
Do you not want to come in?
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
I said, do you not want to come in?
To do what?
I'm asking if you don't want to enter my home.
What were the last two words of your question? I didn't really catch them.
Come in?
Oh, why didn't you say that? I guess the prettiest ones aren't always the smartest.
Are you ready for the best spaghetti and meatballs of your life?
Yeah.
It'll be done pretty soon, don't worry. So, what do you do for work?
Well, I work for a blood drive.
Oh, a charitable man, I see. So, are you gonna ask me what I do for work?
No. So, how long does it take to get this pasta as hot as you?
Well, that seems a little direct, doesn't it?
Well, when you look this good, it's hard not to be direct.
Well, at least let me cook you dinner first.
Well, when you look as good as this meal, it's sometimes hard to wait.
Okay, it's almost done. Just a few more seconds.
This meal looks really good.
Here, try it. Oh my god, is my cooking that bad? Hundreds of years of wisdom, and they still never expect a female vampire slayer.
So that's Red Sauce. I actually really like the way that this movie came out. I'm rather happy with it. It plays pretty sharply into my bloodlust that I've developed over time. So originally, the actor who was supposed to play the vampire ended up in the ER the weekend that we were filming this. He's perfectly fine now, he was just sick, but he was not able to film, and I was very reliant on this. And getting somebody to go do a shoot that was at the hours that this was, as this was my third and in high school final overnight shoot that I had done, which was very difficult. The night before, I had been at a event that Florida teenagers go to, which is called Grad Bash. It's held at Universal Studios, and it's a night in which only teenagers who are graduating high school are allowed into this event. They have a bunch of special music and all these things. And so I was hanging out with my friend Evan, who I talk to semi-frequently, as in a few times a year, and find out that my actor is going to be in the ER.
And he goes, I'm freaking out. I have this movie thing that I'm literally going to do in 12 hours that I have no one to help for because my main actor just got sick and he called out at the last second. I'm like, dude, do you want me to do it? I mean, I don't have anything for the rest of, I guess it's 3 a.m. now, so for the rest of today. And he's like, I will take it.
Ultimately, we ended up filming this with a ton of fake blood. There was so much blood in this fall. In this fall, I was gonna get Evan crash pads. And he was like, no, it's fine. I do wrestling, just let me do it. And he did this fall, and the take that we show is actually the second take. He slams his head into my refrigerator on the first take of that movie. And he was just fine with it. I had a whole conversation with him at like 4 a.m. driving home from this event the night before, where I was like, hey, you're perfect for this role because you kind of look like you could be a male manipulator. And explaining to him was, I felt so bad. But people can be typecasted into certain roles based off of how they look. And Evan does get the vibe that he could be a male manipulator. I'm not saying that he is by any means.
Yeah, here, come do this. You look like what I envisioned for a douchebag vampire. It's great.
That shoot, see, this really puts weight in the fact that I said Hung with Care was the most uncomfortable shoot, because in this one, there was, literally depictions of like sexual harassment, sexual assault, and we did in fact, we were, as actors, we were very physically close in order to make the look of that happen. Everything was fine, everything was, I knew what to expect going into it. I wasn't very uncomfortable. And Hung with Care still beats that. It still beats that. Thanks, Antonio.
And now we get to the final movie, Schrodinger. After 8 months, I was finally able to get the time and resources, particularly the new computer, that was necessary to be able to edit this project. I had felt so bad for all the people who had put so many hours into this that just sat and didn't know if this movie was ever gonna get made, as this was a ton of editing on my side. This is still the most complicated timeline I've ever had in a film. So without further ado, let's show the longest and most amount of work I've ever put into a movie right now.
If you wanna know about the globe, just watch Mr. South Science Show. Did he just make a clock with a potato? Only on Mr. South Science Show. Track the sun, rain and snow, outer space above, ocean depth below, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. Learn it all on Mr. South Science Show. I learned it all on Mr. South Science Show.
Hello everybody! Welcome to Mr. Sal's Science Show. I'm Mr. Sal, and today we will be talking about Schrodinger's principles, including his equation, cat analogy, and a literary device based on his ideas.
Boo! Give us something interesting.
Give it time to get interesting.
As always, we have Positive Pete and Negative Nancy here to talk about the good and the bad of whatever I have to talk about. Nancy, I'm sure you'll find that today's lesson is a lot more interesting given that there are very interesting real-world consequences. But without further ado, let's get to it. This is an electron. Electrons are similar to light in the fact that they move as both a particle and a wave. These particles follow a microscopic wave motion in which they move extremely fast, making them very difficult to monitor and actually completely impossible to entirely predict. However, do we know what allows us to somewhat predict the position of these electrons? Pete?
Would that be with the wave function?
No, idiot. The wave function only calculates the probability of the wave motion, and even then, because of Heisenberg's principle, you can't go off of position alone. You also need velocity.
Well, when you're predicting a probability cloud, it doesn't need velocity to figure out the area that it could be in, because all we're looking for is its possible position.
Well, you could predict the possible area that this paper could be in, but you won't be able to make an accurate prediction until you know the velocity with which I'm going to throw it at your big, stupid head.
Hey.
Enough. Enough. You guys are both partially right. As yes, Pete, we do need and use the wave function. And yes, Nancy, we do need to include velocity because of Heisenberg's principle. When you put all of these things together, you end up with Schrodinger's equation, which uses psi, or the wave function, as one of its variables. And it is broken into 3 main parts. The first wave section dictates the over time wave levels, the second section dictates the kinetic energy, and the third section dictates the potential energy.
Stop!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect example of how the equation works. We run it over and over again until we're forced to stop and form the electron cloud, which tells us all possible locations an electron can be. This cloud allows us to determine the superposition of the electron, which means that, until observed, the electron is in all possible locations at once. Now, how is this possible? Well, let's send Pete and Nancy on site in order to understand.
If you wanna know about the globe, just watch Mr. South Science Show. Did he just make a clock with a potato? Only on Mr. South Science Show. I learned it all on Mr. South Science Show.
We are here to demonstrate to you one of the most confusing but fascinating ideas in quantum physics, superpositions.
At first, this will seem like it makes no sense and impossible, and that's actually how scientists felt about it for a while too, but bear with us.
Let's get into it. If you're unfamiliar with it, Schrodinger's cat is a thought experiment meant to explain superpositions. The experiment explains what we have here, a box with a cat in it. Specifically, Mr. Sal's cat, because he was insistent on Mr. Whiskers being used for the scientific explanation.
In the analogy, the box has a mechanism in it that has a 50% chance of killing the cat.
Because we don't know if the mechanism killed the cat, and therefore if the cat is dead or alive, it creates what is called a superposition. The superposition in this instant indicates that all beings of the cat, dead and alive, to be true. This actually means that the cat is synchronously alive and dead. This can also be applied to the position of electrons and other quantum particles, which is what this analogy describes.
But don't forget how fragile a superposition is. If we open the box and look at the cat, or anything happens to the box, then the superposition instantly collapses. For example,
What the hell are you doing?
giving them a mischievous example like I was told to. We now have observed the cat to be alive, meaning that the superposition has collapsed, and the cat is now definitively still in the box and living. But just to confirm, the same principle applies to electrons. Once we see them, their superposition is collapsed, and we now know their position. That's the end of this on-site segment. Take it away, Mr. Sal.
Our final topic is Schrodinger's gun. This is a literary device used by the principles we described earlier that enhances tension in writing. The rule states that a gun has tension until it is shot. This applies to any item that isn't used. To show you this tension, we're gonna have a secret between you and I. Nancy and Pete think that the gun in the next on-site segment is a prop that has one cartridge of condensed air that will explode and hit them if they are shot. What they don't know is that the gun is real. Enjoy the tension. Nancy, take it away!
This is Schrodinger's gun, also called Chekhov's gun. It builds off the principle of Schrodinger's cat and equation to function as a literary device.
This is a prop gun that fires air when a cartridge is present. It's startling, but perfectly safe.
The gun builds tension as Pete and I play Russian roulette, because the audience understands that the odds that one of us gets shot increase as we keep playing. The downside, however, is the same as the superposition. The uncertainty building is like us not being able to see if the cat is alive or dead. The undecided factor of if the gun will fire is both able to happen and not able to happen at once. But as soon as the gun is shot, that uncertainty is gone, just like opening the box, and we now know definitively if it was fired or not, releasing all the tension.
The upside is that writers can create a large amount of tension in media with simply one item, such as a revolver. Of course, it goes to the sixth shot, which means this shot is both guaranteed and has the highest amount of tension. Truly a great representation of this device. It's real?
That looks really real.
What?
I don't know what to do.
I always knew he liked me less, but he tried to kill me?
The gun could still be fake. It's real.
I just can't. Why? To prove the point better? Are you shitting me?
Okay, calm down.
I'm done with this shit.
Pete.
He has disregarded me from the beginning, and I will not stand by and let him use me anymore.
Pete!
I'm gonna shoot his cat.
What? Wait, no, hey! You dumbass, stop. What are you doing? Pete, just listen to me. Just listen to me. If you fire that gun, it goes out of the frame of the camera. If it goes out of the frame of the camera, it creates a superposition, and that bullet is now traveling full speed everywhere outside of the frame at the same time until one of us leaves frame and gets shot by it.
Oh. Wait. Yeah,
Also, you'd be shooting a cat. Don't shoot a cat.
you're right.
Why would you drop the gun?
Why would you catch the gun?
So it wouldn't fire!
I dropped it so it wouldn't fire.
Oh my god.
So, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. I don't even know if I'm right.
Well, the bullet went out of frame, so you could definitely be right. But how would we know? Is there a way we could test it with something?
We could test it, but if when the bullet is observed, it's moving in our direction, we could still get shot.
Well, do we have any other solutions? Because we need to test it if we don't.
Okay, we're testing it.
Oh, you're gonna throw your jacket. I thought we would use the gun.
No, you're gonna throw my jacket, and we're not gonna use the gun because it has a higher chance of deflecting the bullet towards us. It'll go through the jacket, not the gun.
What if the thing happens that you said could happen and I get shot?
And that's on you for trying to shoot the cat.
Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Did it get hit?
Seems so. And seems it didn't come into frame either, which means it is in yet another superposition and our situation has not changed.
Damn.
How'd you let this happen?
What?
How'd you let this happen? All of this. You're supposed to be the smart one. You should have known that this was going to happen. Like, I somewhat know what I'm talking about, but you're Mr. Genius over here, and what? You let your emotions take control and made an illogical decision? That's not how that works. Think.
It was a mistake. You have to understand how much shit I've taken from Mr. Sal.
And that justifies the fact that both of our lives are in danger now?
No. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I would have been upset too, and I always thought you were treated unfairly. But Mr. Sal has been using both of us. He paints me as an asshole and you as a know-it-all. It only hurts both of us more if we enforce these perceptions on each other.
I agree.
Isn't it weird how he chose for one of us to be mischievous and one of us to be nerdy? Like, we're basically the same person.
Yeah, like, we both have roughly the same scientific knowledge and the same degree of ability. So he just picks one of us at random.
Maybe by our names?
Negative Nancy, positive Pete. Oh, it was by our names.
This man is so uncreative, he chose our rules by our names for alliteration. He chose two people who are an intellectual mirror image of each other and forced them to be conflicting parties so he could have a more interesting way of explaining.
I have an idea.
An idea for what?
How we can get out of this. Okay, so the reason we can't leave frame is because as soon as the camera goes from being able to see us to not being able to see us, it counts as us observing the bullet, right?
Yeah.
Well, what I realized is that that's because the camera needs to know an item exists in order for it to go out of frame. Everything out of frame is safe because the camera doesn't know that it's there, but anything that is in frame is then not safe to leave because the camera knows it's left frame in order to shoot it.
Okay.
So, when you brought up the mirror image, I realized that we can stop any superposition from ever occurring by allowing the camera to see itself and then removing the reflection so the camera gets shot.
And then, because the camera can't see anymore, we're freed from making any more superpositions.
Exactly. So what I was thinking is that we can use a selfie camera on my phone to show the camera itself and then just flip it over.
That could work.
I think so. Let's do it. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1.
It worked?
I think so. Get the jacket. We did it.
Oh my god! Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Fine, Sal.
Fine, Sal.
So there's Schrodinger. That movie is a total of 12 minutes long, just under 13 with credits, I believe. It is by far the longest movie that I have ever made. I'm just hoping that you as an audience member were able to understand the necessary parts of it needed for the narrative.
Definitely one of my favorite scenes was like the cat box scene because we had to figure out how to make a cat jump out at me. We had to use a fishing pole. We hooked the fishing pole to the cat, and we used it. We tried to pull it, but there was multiple takes where it wouldn't come out because it would get caught in like the flaps. The flaps like wouldn't open, or it would open too quickly and come way too fast out. What we did in the final shot ended up being our best take.
We put a lot of effort into that. Like, it was so much time, so much effort from everybody on set. It really, like, so much went into Schrodinger to make it turn out. And I'm really, really glad that we did, because I just recently watched it, and I love it. I love it. It just turned out exactly how I kind of pieced it together in my head. I went into that set kind of intimidated, because I know that Noah and Sean, they are like actual theater actors. They worked in theater in my high school, and I was only ever a film TV kid, and so being in front of a camera is totally different than being in front of an audience, and they had been in front of audiences.
We had like really long monologues to memorize, and with not ample time to learn them, we didn't really do as good as we wanted to, especially for me. So we ended up using cue cards. Paul ended up buying these giant poster boards, writing on them all of our lines, and holding them up, having one of his friends come over, hold them up while we were doing our lines. You can't notice it, thankfully, but there were times where we were recording and we would just be looking at the cue card straight. We ended up getting our lines down, but the cue cards were definitely very helpful to hold off screen, in case like that one split second you need a word, you just quick glance over and then make it like a character choice in a way. And
I was just like, oh my God, I hope my performance isn't like the worst in this whole movie. But I'm watching back and I'm like, no offense at all to Noah and Sean, by the way, no offense at all. But I was just like, wow, I really pulled through here. Like, I really pulled through with my performance, and I feel like I wasn't like the weak link on this project. And I'm just really glad that it turned out that way, because I was super insecure about it the whole time.
This was also the 14th draft of the script. So I rewrote the script, I think 11 times with my friend Dylan, who is now an engineering major and took more APs than I have brain cells, and B, my physics teacher, Mr. Kanayan, who is now getting his master's and is possibly one of the smartest people I've had the pleasure of communicating with. And that is everything that I have for you. That's actually the final project that I did in my senior year of high school. Yeah, this is my high school experience. So I would make the better part of 40 different videos, many of which were films. I won 8 film awards, get into NYU, all of these things. I had certainly a relatively successful high school run. However, the most significant part of what I was able to do while I was here was the community that was able to be built around these projects. I am infinitely thankful to everybody who came and helped with these things, and I'm so happy to immortalize these stories and what happened and who was part of them in this project, because this community and this connection of people that these projects made is truly just baffling to me. I have started relationships, ended relationships, made friends, lost friends, all through these movies. And so the amount of things that have happened through this makes me extremely happy. And now that I'm in this weird limbo, I'm actually filming this before I've even officially graduated high school. I have no idea what's ahead of me. And I'm very interested to see that. But the only thing that I can say that I'm going to do is what I firmly believe everybody else needs to do. I will never slow down, I will only speed up, and I will put just as much work into everything else as I have into this and see where I end up.
Oh, won't you stay for the ride? 'Cause all the views will be nice. Lend the stories that we'll tell our friends. We'll make him laugh until the party ends. Oh, won't you stay for the ride? It's do or die. Let's turn this 10 into 11 and make her jump to 7th heaven. Can't let these chances get out of my life. Once again
a millionaire. Let me tell you about it.
Won't you stay for the ride?